Hello and welcome to Security Scan. I'm Vishal Dahiya, and this week we will talk about Quick Reaction Surface-to-Air Missile Systems, that is QRSAM. Now, a sophisticated all-weather, all-terrain quick reaction surface-to-air missile developed by DRDO for Indian Army was successfully test-fired last week from a test range in Odisha. The first trial of this QRSAM was conducted in 2017, followed by 2 more rounds of trials in February this year. It can be mounted on a truck and stored in a canister. It is equipped with electronic counter maneuvers against jamming by aircraft radars. Now, apart from older Soviet-era surface-to-air missiles, Indian Defence Forces currently have Akash, which can cover targets at an altitude up to 18 kilometers. Barak 8, developed in collaboration with Israel, which has a range of up to 100 kilometers, and Israeli Spider QRSAM system, which is capable of launching Python 5 and Derby missiles as its interceptors. So what exactly is QRSAM and where does it fit in the entire gamut of ground air defense systems? For more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests today. Let me start by introducing these guests to you, beginning with retired Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, a defense expert. We also have with us Lieutenant General V.K. Saxena, a distinguished fellow from VIF, and Mr. Sudhir Ranjan Sen, senior editor of Hindustan Times. Let me begin with you, Air Marshal P.K. Srivastava, and let's begin with by trying to understand what exactly do we mean when we are saying QRSAM? Which set is it? Which subset in terms of the ground air defense weapons?
Okay, so to understand this, I think we should understand the kind of threats we try to neutralize through air defense network. Just for the understanding of the viewers, air defense network essentially takes its feed from the radars, air defense radars, and thereafter it supposes it passes it on to the air defense response system. The response system is multi-tiered and it is also multi-layered, and you need them for a kind of like, I need to kind of cover or defend my aerospace, and where I need these systems which are with the Indian Air Force, and then there is a battle formation which needs to be defended. So in that sense, the key word here is QR, that is quick reaction.
Okay.
That means it has to be mobile because it's aimed at protecting the kind of order of battle or battle formation which takes place during the war fighting of the army, and it can move along with it. So it should be quick to react, it should be lighter, it should be able to take on incoming drones, UCAVs, helicopters and other things. So there is a height ceiling on this. It is nearly about 9 kilometers or something, while Akash would be about 18 kilometers because it is protecting in the envelope in a different way. So if you take that comparison, because I think we are trying to pitch it against the Akash being a surface-to-air missile which is for the vulnerable areas and vulnerable point, and this is for the battle formation. If we have this in mind, then it has lighter warhead in that sense. This about, let's say, about 16 kilograms in this case, and for Akash it would be about 60 kilograms. Akash would be much heavier. It is canisterized. It can also work well within the EW environment, hostile EW environment, which is present during the warfare.
Okay.
So if you take all that into account, you find the key word here would be QR, because in missiles there is a lot of confusion, surface-to-air class of missiles. There's a QR missile, which is QR surface-to-air missile. Then there is a we call it MRSAM, which is medium range. Then we have LRSAM, which is long range. We have SR, which is short range. But if you see the ranges, for QR also the range is 30 kilometers. It is almost same which is there for the Akash.
Okay.
Long range is, or medium range what we call, is about 70 kilometers. But in IF and Indian Army, this is called MRSAM, while the same thing is called LRSAM when we talk in terms of naval assets.
Okay.
The missile is same and which is being developed. So the idea being of these nomenclature is as very specific to a service because there's a particular job, and depending on the service, this nomenclature may change.
Okay.
In this particular instant case, this is expected to move with the AD, is part of the AD regiment in the Indian Army. It's expected to move with that. It has to be very mobile, and if you see, it is launched from a truck. It doesn't need to go on the elephant legs for it to fire. So these are some specialty characteristics which then fill the whole grid of missile defense system, in which if you see the force multipliers would be satellite imagery, the force multipliers would also be the ISCCS, which is Integrated Air Defense Control command and control system. It will also have then inputs from software defined radios, because you have to, it can have the operational digital link which is there with the aircraft and the satellites.
Okay.
So the overall gambit is a very vast. We are not discussing about that, but in that it fits in. It fits in one corner which does a particular job.
Which a particular and specific job as well. We'll come to the integration part also a little later, but let me bring in General Saxena here, somebody who's been part of the air defense wing of the Indian Army as well. General Saxena, specifically if you look at, where does QR-SAM fits in the overall metrics of the ground-based air defense weapons?
Very pertinent question. First of all, let us just first define the QR-SAM by its three specific signatures. QR-SAM, of everybody knows, a quick reaction surface-to-air missile, is basically required to provide air defense protection to mobile and mechanized forces in the battlefield. Now, since it is mobile and mechanized forces in the battlefield, it has to keep pace with that. Therefore, it is mounted either on a track chassis or it is mounted on high mobility vehicle. The second signature of this weapon system is that it can carry out surveillance of aerial targets while moving. Third is that whatever targets it needs to be engaged, it can lock on to the target, means track the target in detail, and can fire on it immediately on halting within less than 60 seconds. Now, this being the three signatures, now where does it fit in the overall metrics? To answer this question, we have to understand one basic premise. And the premise is that all ground-based air defense systems, be it in sea or air also, on sea and air also, are meant to counter or negate the enemy's air threat. This air threat in the 70s, around that time, was prosecuted just by a binary pair of an aircraft and a helicopter. That also operating in the visual domain and using such munitions as unguided rockets and bombs.
But now are the days of beyond visual range.
And at that time, what used to happen is that vulnerable areas which required protection, people used to deploy the guns all around in a point defense manner, and this used to be sufficient. But today, the air threat has undergone a metamorphosis. Today, the aircrafts are fourth and fifth generation, armed to the teeth, carrying precision guided munitions and with stealth. The helicopter, the humble helicopter, has become a lethal attack helicopter capable of nap of the earth flying. There are cruise missiles, surface to surface missiles. There are standoff weapons which can be delivered much beyond from the visual range. They are beyond visual range ammunition. There are soft kill munition and so on. Now, to counter this sort of a threat, it is not sufficient to just deploy one point defense. So, what has been the form now is the air defense weapons are now deployed in a area grid pattern. What is that grid pattern? Overlapping layers of air defense weapons are deployed in such a manner that right from the terminal end up to the long range, the incoming air threat weapon can be punished seamlessly and successfully. Now, how does this happen? It happens by having 4 different class of weapons.
Okay.
At the area which is to be protected, we have very short range air defense system, 8 to 10 kilometers, can be guns, can be man portable missiles. Overlapping this layer is what the Air Marshal was just bringing out, was this short range surface to air missile system like Akash.
SR-SAMs.
SR-SAM, Akash, 25 kilometer round range. Then the next layer is MR-SAM, 70 kilometers to 100 kilometers, and LR-SAM beyond 100 kilometers. This sort of a deployment is called layered and tiered. It is layered and it is tiered. It is called layered and tiered defense. Combined with this is the battle management and control system, and together we call it integrated air defense system. Now, QR-SAM is a part of that SR-SAM which I was talking about. We should have SR-SAM, MR-SAM and LR-SAM. Take out SR-SAM, and one of the components of SR-SAM is a QR-SAM. Now, why QR-SAM? Because it is not protecting static vulnerable areas. It is protecting mobile and mechanized forces. Now, what is the most important thing in such weapons? The most important thing is they have to be lightweight, they have to be mobile, they have to be self-contained for surveillance, tracking, as well as for destroying the target.
Okay.
Now, this is the genre of QR-SAM.
Okay.
And this is how it fits in the overall matrix of ground-based air defense weapon system.
Okay, that beautifully and clearly explains what exactly is QRSAM and where does it fit in the matrix, both of you, General Saxena and Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava as well. But let me bring in Sudhi here. And Sudhi, if you look at the utility of QRSAMs and this layered tier defense, which General Saxena was talking about, wherein we have LRSAMs, MRSAMs as well, VSHORADs as well. Now, in SRSAMs, there's one specific version which is known as QRSAM, the Quick Reaction Surface-to-Air Missile System. How significant do you believe it is specifically in today's times? And where are we in terms of developing our own QRSAM systems?
See, I would say it's very, very significant because, we operate in a very contested airspace. And given the fact, the kind of neighborhood that we have, we are not going to be fighting like the Americans or the Western world where you send in the Air Force first, soften the enemy, and then you send in your ground troops. So you are going to, operate in very contested areas, very, very contested airspaces. And therefore, you need, this layered or tiered, a way of defending not only your own, troops on the ground, but also the mobility that you need. And in that way, I think it's a great development because considering all the other forms or all the other arms of the military, air defense was particularly neglected. In fact, very many people have even commented that sometimes we even wonder whether the current existing air defense weapons, I don't want to bring in the names, will fire when required. So there is that element. We have the Controller and Auditor General also raising these issues. Mm-hmm. This is a very, very welcome development. Couple of tests have happened. It now depends how quickly you can induct it and therefore deploy it, because it's not only induction. Then you have to do your exercises to find out how exactly you utilize the weapon, how do you exploit the weapon, and therefore what is the new theory or ethos that you bring in with these new weapons that are coming in. But at the end of it, very significant.
Okay. Now, AVM Srivastava, we have Spider, we have with our Indian Air Force, we have Barak 8, which is being developed in collaboration with Israel as well. Akash we obviously have, which we developed. But in terms of specific QRSAM, something as explained by General Saxena and you yourself as well, in terms of our indigenous capability, where are we? How many steps have we taken, and how long before we go ahead and have these indigenous systems?
Actually, as far as our missile development capability is concerned, in this case, we are talking about DRDL aspect. DRDL has done a lot of weapons which have come out from its armor. We are talking about Akash, but if you really see, Trishul was there, Nag was there. There were several other systems which came out, including the sea skimming, Nirbhay. Nirbhay has been a great development, the way it has been tested out and has proved to be correct. Mm-hmm. So, as far as technology is concerned, I think we have in a way mastered the technology for the air defense, development of air defense systems or missile systems. Whether we take, in our case, you take BrahMos or you take Agni, Prithvi, all those strategic missiles, because we are talking about ATGMs, we are talking about SAM class of missiles, that is Akash and what we talked about now, mm-hmm. and then we are also talking about the strategic missiles. So, in whole gambit of the missiles, we have done very well as a country.
Okay.
So, there is I don't think there's any impediment. There may be some failures which happened even in this QRSAM case. 1 or 2 trials earlier failed. We can get over it and we can get to the production line and we can have this given to the armed forces. Okay. To fill in the gap, currently Spider has come in play to provide the mechanized forces with the kind of mobility they have with the air cover.
Okay.
And QRSAM essentially is seen as either you call it a first line of defense or you call it a last line of defense. Why I call it last line of defense? If everything else has failed, we are talking about the long range missiles, we are talking about the BrahMos, we are talking about all our ICBMs, everything fails and still something is walked through, then this guy is going to engage it. Otherwise, it is the role of the Indian Air Force to keep the sky free from the enemy fire. Okay. It is that last ditch attempt which General has very aptly explained that we used to have earlier the Ecker guns firing into that, but those threats were a different kind. And the kind of revolution which has taken in military affairs, that you always have a BVR, you are talking about the BVR kind of scenario, you are talking about net-centric warfare. So Akash and all other system will sit on the net-centric warfare platform.
Okay.
So somebody who's giving command, and you'll be supported by the software-defined radios, you'll be supported by the ODL, the operational data link of the aircraft, you'll be supported by the satellite imagery. These are the force multipliers in AD domain.
Okay.
You'll also be supported by the huge network of air direction centers and air direction control centers. So all these, when they come together alive, then they provide the true missile defense to the nation.
Okay.
And you have to naturally then tackle with information warfare kind of thing, because the moment you go net-centric, you have to handle that, and you have to handle the EW environment.
Okay.
So this total scenario, as far as our QRSAM is concerned, is sitting very pretty to give cover, air cover, to my order of battle when the mechanized forces are moving forward.
And as and when required as well. General Saxena, on the indigenous aspect specifically, since you've been part of the air defense and the way we have developed these capabilities in terms of developing missiles, as AVM Srivastava was pointing out, how far do you think have we gone? And in mastering that expertise of the QRSAM specifically.
Let me give you a small, give me a flavor of what we have and where have we gone, and significance of this QRSAM will come out of that. Today, in the terms of, let's say, short-range missile system, which we actually can relate it to the V-SHORAD system, we have Strela 10M missiles system and the OSA AK missile system. The Strela 10M missile system has got a range of 5 kilometers, and OSA AK missile system has got a range of 10 kilometers. Now with these two ranges, 5 and 10 kilometers, I will take you back right up to 1983 when Integrated Guided Missile Development Program was born. And two air defense missiles were supposed to come out of that. One is Akash and one is Trishul. Of course, other Prithvi and Naga I am not talking about. I am talking about Akash and Trishul. Akash became a success story, AVM is here, and both of us are here, which actually inducted Akash into the army, AD through him. But imagine Trishul, it did not become a success. But DRDO learned a lot from Trishul. They learned a lot about the QRSAM technology. At that time, we brought in the French system. The French and the DRDO came together, MBDA and French, and they tried to develop a missile called Maitri. Now, Maitri did not see the light of the day, but taught a lot of the things to DRDO. Now, DRDO at that time, now what used to happen was, the story of QRSAM actually started in 2007-8, when we are having only 5 to 10 kilometer missile, that is Strela 10M and OSA. The stakeholders started to say the air threat demands the QRSAM to have a range of 25-30 kilometers. Give us those missiles. The government said, all right, you want these QRSAM missiles, some portion of it go abroad and buy it immediately because you require for your mechanized forces. But the rest of it will be developed in a mission mode. It's called mission mode. Means I'll give you a mission to develop to DRDO. I will not quote the numbers here, those are classified. Some numbers, for some numbers, the team called Multidisciplinary Task Force, or called MTDT, they went abroad, had a look at different missiles. For example, Rosoboron Export provided Panzir system. The Rafale provided the Spider system. The AI provided their QRSAM. All were being examined. At the same time, around 2012, July 2012, the project was sanctioned for DRDO for mission mode of QRSAM. That time, they were just about closing down with the French and this new system was starting. The name given to this missile system, QRSAM I means indigenous. From that time, imagine from that time onward, the project of 569 crore rupees were sanctioned for this project to develop. What was the aim? Develop something which is lightweight, which is mobile, which carries its own surveillance and tracking capability and firing capability on move. Imagine. The project got sanctioned in 17th October 2017.
Okay.
And the first test of this happened in 2017. June 1st missile was tested out. In 17 itself, in 2 more, October and December, 2 more tests, and thereafter we are at the 6th test today. Yeah. What is so special about this missile?
Okay.
Let us just bring out the significance of QRSAM. Now don't look at QRSAM as one tube, missile tube. No. To look at a regiment of QRSAM. The regiment at the top has got a radar. It is called the regiment level surveillance radar. It is a radar which has a range of 90 kilometers. It carries out surveillance of the area where this regiment gets deployed. And of course, you have the regiment command post and everything. Under this regiment, you have 3 batteries. Each of these batteries have got combat vehicles on which these missiles are mounted, 4 combat vehicles in each battery. Each combat vehicle has 6 canistered missiles. So 24 missiles to a battery, 72 to a regiment. Imagine that firepower. Now in each battery is also capable to be deployed independently. How? Because each battery itself has got a battery surveillance radar.
Okay.
This battery surveillance radar is a C-band radar, 120 kilometer range. And that again can carry out surveillance on move. And you have the radar which is called the multifunction radar, 80 kilometer range to track and lock the target. Now imagine a regiment level surveillance radar which is called the Air Defense Tactical Control Radar. A battery level radar, surveillance and tracking, 4 combat vehicles, and each combat vehicle 6 canister missile. Now what is each of this missile? It is a solid propellant missile,
Okay.
capable of 900 meter per second, capable of taking down any type of threat, flying at 1.8 Mach, as also what is the most important threat to mechanized forces is from the attack helicopters, from opportunity which they do nap of the earth flying, and from drones as the AVM was bringing out. This radar, which I am talking about, the multifunction radar, which is the X-band radar, is particularly optimized for low-level tracking and hitting the target. That is why this QR-SAM-I is a stand apart. It is
Okay.
not VSHARAD, SR-SAM, MR-SAM. There is one league. This is a standalone.
This is a different aspect.
standalone league,
Okay.
which has its own surveillance radar, tracking radar, missile system, and also important thing, all on our own.
Okay.
We have learned from Maitri and produced all. That is the significance.
Okay, so that clearly explains, the indigenization part and where are we there. So with this backdrop and with the explanation which has been given by General Saxena in terms of where have we reached and what exactly are the significances, how do you see the utilization of weapon platforms like these in the future?
See, I mean, increasingly, if you look at neighborhood, you need to get into the beyond visual range. The era of dogfights are largely over, although we saw one very recently in February. But more and more, we are going to engage the enemy without seeing the enemy. We are going to get, alerted of the enemy threat even before the enemy has taken up from his airfield, perhaps. And if we need the ability to interdict him, much before he comes into our territory, these are the capabilities that you need to be able to look at 120 kilometers inside, or be told by an AVAC that something is coming in, or pick up an helicopter flying the nape of the earth. But having said that, I'm afraid to say that the things have moved ahead, much ahead. It's not only beyond visual range, where we are trying to catch up, but what we need to now perhaps look at is artificial intelligence and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And that is where I see, while there is awareness, but I don't see a doctrinal paper, a white paper saying that where do we go, what is it that we want to achieve.
Okay, so there it is, but in terms of looking at the way in which we move ahead and the future perspective and aspect as well, the way Sudeep put it, we need to make some more changes. The awareness is there. We are indigenization aspect as explained by General Saxena. We do have that capability.
I agree with Sudhir, what he said, that we need to move in AI into the missile systems. I'll give an example. We have an example in Israel. They have Iron Dome, and they got, for other thing, Davis Sling. Now, these two systems, what does Iron Dome does? If it recognizes a threat, which is a missile or projectile is coming into its territory, but it is going to fall in a barren land, it doesn't intercept it. Because it knows that if I intercept it, actually I'm wasting my missile. So it's a kind of artificial intelligence engine which runs within it and says, okay, we don't need to engage this. It's not a potential threat. So not only you engage a target, you identify a target, you engage a target which is actually a potential threat in your domain. So that kind of AI has to come in. We are coming out with Akash Mark II. Akash Mark II will have higher kill probability. It will have little higher range, but range is not so material here, I would say. The material thing, it will have higher kill probability. So now what we need to hone on to is how to improve the kill probability. Third thing which we need to focus on, do we have the handle over the manufacturing of seekers, indigenous seekers?
Okay.
As far as optical seekers are concerned, I don't think we are still there in that sense, because a lot of things will keep coming from other countries, and where there'll be a kind of barrier in terms of MECR and all that.
Okay.
So taking that into account, what we need to progress and really master. We have mastered the art of propulsion. There's no doubt about it as far as we are concerned.
But there is the next step which
the
we need
next
to go
step
ahead
is
and...
these are things which when embedded into a system, they will make it really a great system for the kind of threats which you're expecting now.
Okay. General Saxena, concluding comments from you.
QRSAM I want to bring out, sir. This is not only a missile for ground forces. It is a missile which is having a version for its air force because of taking down the low-flying cruise missile. I will not be able to name the areas also being allotted for. And for the naval version, the naval version is of this QRSAM is being developed to take on the anti-ship missile flying at low level. So this is one missile which got a tri-shade: Army, Ground Forces, Air Force, and the Navy.
Okay, so there it is. We are moving ahead on the right path and developing technologies. And this was the gist of what exactly is a QRSAM and where does it fit in the entire metrics of ground-based air defense weapons. We'll come back again next week with a different topic and different set of guests. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.